Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into AI and finance. It's a world, full of potential, but also some pretty big risks.
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack there.
We've got two sources for this deep dive.
Okay.
A report from OMFIF. It's called What AI Means for Finance, Risks of an Intelligent Financial System.
Right.
And also a document from the Digital Monetary Institute.
Interesting.
Both are looking at how AI is, well, transforming the world of finance.
Yeah, and I mean, it really is kind of a transformation.
Right.
It's not just like, a little tweak here and there.
Yeah.
This could change everything about finance.
Like how we invest.
Exactly. How we invest, how we manage risk, everything.
Wow.
Some experts are even saying it's like the Industrial Revolution.
Industrial Revolution. Whoa, that's a pretty big comparison.
Yeah, it is. But that's the kind of impact we're talking about here.
So how is AI already changing things?
Yeah.
What's it doing right now in the financial world?
It's doing a lot. Like, think about all those things that used to take humans hours to do, like analyzing data, making decisions.
Yeah.
AI is stepping in and doing a lot of that stuff.
All right.
For example, it's already being used for fraud detection.
Oh, interesting.
Like sifting through all that data to find suspicious transactions.
And it can do that like in real time.
Yeah, in real time.
Wow.
It's also being used to, improve risk models,
Uh-huh.
make customer service more personal,
Okay.
and even make those, super fast trading decisions.
So it's basically doing everything.
Pretty much.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But it also makes you wonder, what could go wrong?
Right. And that's where the risks come in.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the risks.
Well, our sources kind of break them down into two categories.
Okay.
First order risks, which are like the immediate dangers.
Okay.
And then second order risks, which are more long-term consequences.
So the things that might change, like society as a whole. Okay, I get it. So let's start with the first order risks. What are some of those immediate concerns about AI and finance?
Well, one of the biggest ones is AI-powered fraud.
Oh, right, like scams and stuff.
Yeah, but like supercharged scams.
Uh-huh.
Like, imagine phishing emails so good they could fool anyone.
Oh, wow.
Or even worse, deepfakes.
Deepfake.
Those AI-generated videos or audio
Right.
that can, like, perfectly imitate someone.
So someone could use that to, like, authorize a transaction that isn't real.
Exactly. Or manipulate markets, all sorts of things.
That's scary. Is that actually happening?
Oh, yeah. The report actually says that deepfake fraud attempts have increased 5-fold in just the last year.
5-fold. That's a lot.
It is. It's a real threat.
It seems like, every time there's a new technology, there are people trying to figure out how to use it for bad stuff.
It's true, unfortunately.
So, beyond fraud, are there other immediate risks?
Definitely. Think about cybersecurity. AI is becoming a really powerful tool in the fight between, attackers and defenders.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It can be used to create really sophisticated attacks, but it can also be used to, like, strengthen defenses.
Right.
The problem is this creates, like, a constant escalation.
So it's like a never-ending arms race.
Exactly. Both sides are always trying to, like, outdo each other with AI.
And that means...
It means we're probably going to see even more complex and dangerous cyber attacks as AI gets better.
Oh, great. So AI could both protect and threaten our financial systems. It's a double-edged sword. Couldn't it also be used to manipulate markets, though?
Absolutely. Imagine AI writing fake news articles or social media posts that are so convincing they actually move markets. Or AI algorithms designed to, like, exploit weaknesses in the market.
And make money off of that.
Yeah, basically. These aren't just, like, theoretical ideas either.
Right.
AI can analyze huge amounts of data and find patterns. That makes it really good at manipulation, and that's a big concern for regulators.
It's like the more powerful AI gets, the more dangerous it becomes.
In some ways, yeah.
So we've got AI-powered fraud, a cybersecurity arms race, and market manipulation. Is there anything else?
Oh, yeah, there's more. Another big one is what's called the black box problem.
The black box problem. What's that?
Basically, a lot of AI models are so complex we don't really understand how they make decisions.
So it's like they work, but we don't know why.
Exactly. Imagine having a financial advisor who gives great advice but can't explain how they got there.
That would be frustrating.
That's kind of the problem with some AI systems. This lack of transparency makes it really tough for regulators.
Because they don't know what to regulate.
Right. And institutions don't know if they can really trust the AI.
It's a bit of a mystery then. But isn't there also, like, a concern about bias? Like, could AI systems be biased against certain people?
Absolutely. AI models are trained on huge data sets, right?
Yeah.
And if those data sets reflect real-world biases,
Then the AI will learn them too.
exactly. So imagine an AI loan system that's biased against, certain borrowers because of the data it was trained on.
That's not good. It could make existing inequalities even worse.
Exactly.
We need to be really careful about how we develop these systems then. But there's one more risk I keep hearing about, and that's the fear of like an AI-driven market crash.
Ah, yes, the flash crash scenario. It's a valid concern. Especially when you think about how fast and interconnected everything is in the financial world these days.
Yeah.
Remember the 2010 flash crash?
Vaguely.
It was a reminder of how quickly things can go wrong when you have a lot of automated trading.
Right.
Now imagine multiple AI systems all analyzing the same data, all making the same decisions at the same time.
It's like they could all just decide to sell everything at once.
Exactly, and that could send markets crashing down.
That's terrifying. I think I read something about the SEC warning about this.
They have. They're worried about AI contributing to market instability. And then there's the issue of concentration in the AI supply chain.
What does that mean?
Well, just a few companies control a lot of the essential things for AI, like the chips and the computing power.
Okay.
And that raises concerns about, like, what happens if one of those companies has a problem.
Could it like bring down the whole system?
It's possible.
So we've got AI-powered fraud, a cybersecurity arms race, market manipulation, the black box problem, what was it, algorithmic convergence,
Yeah, that's the one.
and then bias and this concentration of power. That's a lot of immediate dangers.
It is, but we're not done yet. There's also the long-term
That's
stuff.
the second-order risks.
Right, like how this might affect the insurance industry, jobs, even the economy as a whole. That stuff is potentially even bigger than the immediate dangers.
Well, listeners, it seems like we're just scratching the surface here. Stay with us as we keep going with this deep dive into AI and finance. We'll be exploring those long-term impacts and what it all means for the future. Welcome back to the deep dive. We just finished talking about, like, all those immediate dangers of AI and finance,
Right.
which, I mean, that's a lot to think about already.
It is.
But I'm really interested in those long-term impacts, the second-order risks,
Yeah.
the things that could, like, really change how our financial system works.
Yeah, even society as a whole, really.
Exactly. So let's talk about those.
It is fascinating to consider.
It is.
Like, how AI might disrupt things that have been around for a long time.
Uh-huh.
Like, for example, the insurance industry.
Insurance. I mean, we've had insurance forever, right?
Yeah.
How could AI disrupt that?
Well, think about it. Insurance is all about assessing risk, right?
Yeah.
And AI is really good at analyzing data and making predictions.
So is it like AI could create, like, personalized insurance policies?
Exactly. Imagine AI looking at your health records, your driving habits, even your social media.
And using that to calculate your insurance premiums.
Yeah, it could tailor insurance to each individual.
Wow. That could make insurance a lot more, well, accurate.
It could, and maybe even more affordable for some people.
But what about the people who are more likely to, like, get sick or have an accident?
That's the potential downside.
Wouldn't their premiums be super high?
They could be, and that's what's called adverse selection.
Adverse selection.
Basically, it means that only the riskiest people can afford insurance,
Oh, I see.
and that could make insurance, unsustainable.
Yeah, that's not good.
Hmm.
Especially for the people who need it most.
Right. It's a tough problem.
It seems like AI could create a lot of ethical dilemmas like that.
It could. And this isn't just about insurance either.
Right.
One of the biggest concerns is how AI will affect jobs.
Oh, yeah, the whole robots taking our jobs thing.
Right. And this fear has been around for a long time, but AI is different.
How so?
It can automate a lot more types of jobs, not just like factory jobs.
White-collar jobs, too.
Exactly. Accountants, analysts, even customer service reps.
So, are we all going to be out of work?
It's unlikely that AI will eliminate all jobs,
Okay.
but it will definitely change the types of jobs that are available.
And the skills that people need.
Right. Our sources suggest that AI could lead to what's called labor market polarization.
Labor market polarization, what does that mean?
It means that high-skill jobs, the ones that complement AI, will do well,
Okay.
but middle-wage jobs, those could disappear.
So it's like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
It's a risk, yeah.
It reminds me of, like, the Industrial Revolution,
Yeah, there are some parallels there.
like skilled artisans being replaced by machines.
Right, and that led to a lot of social and economic upheaval.
It took a long time for things to settle down after
It
that.
did. And history has shown us that these big technological shifts can be very disruptive.
Yeah.
They often make inequality worse.
So if AI follows that same path,
We need to be prepared.
we need to figure out how to manage those changes.
Exactly.
Okay, so AI could worsen inequality and change the job market. What are the overall economy?
That's another area where AI could have a big impact.
Right.
Our sources say that it could actually disrupt some of the basic economic relationships we've come to rely on,
Like what?
like the relationship between inflation and unemployment.
Oh yeah, the Phillips curve. I remember learning about that in school, but I didn't really remember how it works.
Basically, the idea is that when unemployment is low, wages go up,
Uh-huh.
and that leads to higher prices, which is inflation.
Right. I remember now. But how could AI change that?
Well, if AI leads to a lot of job losses,
Then wages might not go up, even if unemployment is low.
exactly. So you could have low inflation, but also stagnant wages.
And that means people aren't really benefiting from the economic growth.
Right, and that could lead to social unrest.
Yeah, for sure. So what else could AI mess up?
It could also affect interest rates.
Interest rates. Okay.
The sources suggest that AI could lead to lower interest rates.
Lower interest rates. Isn't that a good thing?
Oh.
Like loans would be cheaper?
It can be good, but it can also be a problem.
How so?
Well, low interest rates can encourage people to take on more risk,
Yeah.
and that can lead to, like, speculative bubbles in the market.
Oh, right. Like the housing bubble.
Exactly. And that can create instability in the financial system.
So AI could create this weird situation where we have low inflation, low interest rates, and potentially high inequality.
Yeah, it's a combination we haven't really seen before.
It's hard to know what that would do to the economy in the long run. So what are policymakers doing about all of this? Are governments trying to, like, prepare for these changes?
They are, but it's tough.
How so?
AI is developing so fast, it's hard for regulations to keep up.
It's like by the time they create a rule, the technology has already changed.
Exactly. And different countries are taking different approaches.
Like what?
Well, the U.S. seems to be taking a more hands-off approach.
So they're just kind of waiting to see what happens.
Kind of, yeah. They're hoping that existing laws will be enough.
And what about other countries?
Some are being more proactive, like the UK and Canada are trying to encourage AI development,
Okay.
but they're also trying to anticipate the risks.
It's like walking a tightrope, isn't it?
It is. They want to support innovation, but also make sure things don't get out of control.
What about the EU? They tend to be pretty strict about new technologies.
They are. The EU is taking a much more cautious approach.
So are they trying to ban AI?
Not exactly. They've proposed something called the AI Act.
The AI Act.
It's basically a set of rules for AI systems.
And how does it work?
It categorizes AI systems based on how risky they are.
It's okay.
And then it puts stricter rules on the high-risk systems.
So like AI that's used for credit scoring or insurance.
Exactly. The EU wants to make sure those systems are transparent, fair, and explainable.
That makes sense. It seems like there's this tension between like wanting to encourage innovation, but also wanting to protect people.
There is. It's a tough balance. And it's
Yeah.
not just a debate for policymakers to have.
Right.
This is something that affects all of us.
Yeah. But we all need to be part of this conversation.
Well, we do,
Yeah.
because AI is going to shape the future of finance.
And the future of society.
Exactly.
Well, listeners, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've talked about the potential of AI to revolutionize finance,
Mm-hmm.
but we've also talked about all the risks, both the immediate ones and the long-term ones.
And our deep dive isn't over yet.
Stay with us as we come up for air and talk about some key takeaways.
We'll also discuss what all this means for you and the future of finance.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about AI in finance, and it's been a wild ride.
It has lots of potential, but also a lot of risks.
Yeah, from fraud to market manipulation to like changing the whole job market. It's a lot.
Yeah. It really is. And it's important to understand both sides of the coin, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But with all this uncertainty, it's hard to know what to do, you know? Where do we even begin?
Well, I think one of the key takeaways here is that we can't just like list out the risks and benefits and call it a day.
Right.
We need to really think about how we want to use AI in finance and in society.
Yeah, how do we make sure it's fair? How do we prepare for job losses? How do we keep it from, like, going off the rails?
Exactly. Those are the tough questions we need to be asking. And our sources actually highlight that we need more research on this stuff.
More research.
Yeah, like on explainability, fraud prevention, and mitigating systemic risks.
So we're still figuring this all out.
We are. And that's why it's important to have these conversations now before AI is even more embedded in everything. One interesting idea I saw was sandboxed environments for testing AI.
Sandbox environments.
Basically, it's like a safe space to test high-risk AI systems.
So they can't, like, break the real world.
Exactly. It's like a virtual playground for AI.
That's pretty clever. But at the end of the day, this all comes back to us, right?
It does.
We can't just rely on experts to figure this out.
We all need to be informed and engaged.
So what can the average person do? I mean, it all seems so complicated.
Well, first, just stay informed. Read articles, listen to podcasts, learn the basics.
Okay, that makes sense. And don't just believe everything you read.
Exactly. Be critical. There's a lot of hype out there.
And a lot of people promising to make you rich with AI.
Right. Be skeptical of that stuff, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Like, if you don't understand how something works.
Yeah, demand transparency. Make sure you understand what you're getting into. This isn't just something for tech people to worry about.
It's going to affect all of us. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave everyone with one last question.
Okay.
If AI really does change the job market as much as people say it will, how will society adapt?
That's a big one.
What role will finance play in that new world? It's something we all need to be thinking about.
It is. AI has the power to reshape everything, and it's up to us to make sure it's for the better. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and finance.
And until next time, stay curious and stay informed.